Okay, there's two ways of modeling the multiplication of fractions using the area model. In the first way, this way is really good in showing you how it's a part of a part. So we're going to multiply 2/3 times 3/4 using an area model. So 2/3 would look like this. So if I did it in blue, that would be 2/3. And if I did 3/4 in red, that would look like this. So this is 2/3 of a whole and 3/4 of a whole. Now, when we multiply them together, we're going to basically superimpose them upon each other. So here again, if I put these two things together here, and so they look crisscrossed. So here we can, the 2/3 would look like this. And then I'm going to superimpose the 3/4 right on top of those 2/3. What this will show us is that where they intersect, which is here, this part where they intersect would be the product. The good thing that this model shows, if you concentrate on the 3/4 right here, we started out with, you can see if you just focus just on that part that we're taking 2/3 of that 3/4 right here. 2/3 of the 3/4. And that's why this portion right here is the answer. So when you take it as a whole, then you create these smaller parts. And if you say, well, how many of these does it take to create one whole? You'll see that there's 12. So these are going to be 12ths. So you're going to take where they both intersect as the answer. So there's a total of 6/12, which simplifies to 1/2. That's the product. Now, in this new way that we're going to model it, we're going to use the same area model, but we're going to look at it in a different way. We're going to look at it just like we would find the area of a rectangle, which is just slightly different. It uses the same whole unit, but we're just going to focus on like the length times the width is going to equal the area. So basically, we're just going to use this part of the whole that creates the rectangle. And we're just going to focus this part right here. If you were to focus just on this line right here, how much of the whole line is it? Well, if from here to here is one whole, then here to here is 2/3 of that whole. And if we're going on this line, from here to here would be one whole, but from here to here, that would be 3 sections out of 4 sections, so that would be 3/4. So from here to here would be 3/4. So now you can see we have the length, which is 3/4 of a whole, times the width, which is 2/3 of a whole. And then, just like any rectangle where you multiply length times width, you create this rectangle. Now it's only after you create the rectangle that you start to use the two-dimensional space and you start to use these rectangular units. So once you get these rectangular units, we go from using fourths of a line and thirds of a line to 12ths of a square unit. So these will be 12ths. And then now you're going to count 12ths once you multiply the 3/4 times the 2/3. And you can see there's still 6 out of 12 total. So let's look at another example. And this time we're going to skip the first way of doing it, and we're just going to concentrate just on multiplying the length times the width. So I'm going to take 3/4, and I'm going to put that. I'm going to have to put it going this way because this one's cut up into fourths, not this direction. This is only cut up into halves. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3/4. And this 1/2 I'm going to put here because I can draw a line going from here to here is half of the way to the end. See, this would be the full way, and this is only halfway. So this is 1/2. And then I'm going to close in that rectangle. And there you can see this is going to be my rectangle. Now when I look at the rectangle, now we're going to look at the two-dimensional rectangles that this forms. And you can see that there would be a total of 8 that would make one whole, but only 3 of them here are shaded. So this would be 3/8. Let's take a look at another example. We got 3/5 going this way, and then 2/3 going this way. So there's my length times my width, which will form a rectangle. And then, so I'm interested in just the rectangle. If I look at the parts that this makes, these parts here, if I want to know what size these pieces are, I have to take it in the context of the entire whole. So there would be 15 of them that would make one whole. So these are going to be 15ths. And there are 6 of those 15ths in this rectangle. So the answer is 6/15.